how do you check your own biases? For example, like when, you try to help a company market and see things clearly without biasness so they can get from point A to point B in a very good, effective manner. So just for personal reasons, like how do you check your own biases and check yourself to make sure that you're not overthinking your abilities or saying that, hey, I need to improve in this area, or how about other ways that other people can check their biases? Because a lot of people, right, we have biases, we have cognitive biases, we have fallacies sometimes, and I'm a person who tries to check my biases, check my fallacies, and even point them out to others, because it's not to and people can be very offended if you point out their biases or their fallacies. But us as people, if we have something to offer to better somebody and we know and we see it, it's good to offer them a way that could help them to better themselves. So if you're having a conversation with somebody and you're like, hey, well, that doesn't seem like necessarily the best way to go about it. You seem, for the fact that all of your father, your grandfather, and your great-grandfather all were in the Army, that might necessarily not be the best thing from you, given that you said you really don't like weapons and all of that. And so you told me you're very much into planes and you're very much into aeronautics. So why don't you go into the Air Force? Oh, no, the Army's for me. Well, so what can a person do to check their bias, and how do you check your biases also to try to stay up?
Yeah, that's a really, really smart thing to be doing. I think it's Richard Feynman, might be misremembering it, but he was saying something along the lines of, the first rule is to not fool yourself, and you're the easiest one to fool. And personally, I have mentors who have achieved what I'm trying to work on, so that they have already walked the path. They know what it takes, so that they can save me decades of forging my own way forward. They just show me step by step. So then they can spot the problems that I would have before I would ever be aware of it myself. So it's really important to have a mentorship relationship with somebody who's already where it is that you would like to be. The second wrinkle is that Richard Feynman thing, which is when people first start learning about applied psychology and cognitive biases and that kind of a thing, they think, oh, I read this one book and therefore I have all the tools I need to never be fooled ever again, which now makes you the easiest person to fool, because you think you know every single way you could be fooled, which is my favorite person to fool. So science audiences are some of my favorite audiences to work with, because they're ultra rational and they're used to working with cause and effect, but the human imagination can interrupt cause and effect. And that's what lateral decision making is, and lateral strategy making, right? So ultra logical thinkers are some of the easiest people to fool. So it's kind of one of those things of, I can't teach you what you think you already know. So those are the most difficult people to help, because they think they don't have a problem. And the most common form of that I see are the business owners who are good at whatever skill it is that they were good at that made them want to start a business in the first place. I don't care if it's selling carpet, roofing, electrician, supply chain, I couldn't care less. That's what they're good at. And then they go, well, I would never click on a Facebook ad. and therefore nobody else would click on a Facebook ad. Consequently, Facebook ads aren't going to work. So because they are making the fundamental mistake of assuming everybody thinks like them, they're missing out on their entire market, because everybody that wants to buy what they're selling is buying stuff off Facebook like hotcakes. But the business owner knows for sure that I never click on a Facebook ad. I don't even have a Facebook account, and nobody I sell to is going to do that. It's like, well, you have a fundamental mistake about your market. But most people think that most people think like them, because they haven't done the hard work of understanding how thinking works. And that's kind of the trick, which is of self-promotion. The reason why you have to self-promote, do you know how hard it is to get your elevator pitch correct? Do you know how hard it is to get some stranger at a cocktail party to wrap their head around how you're going to make them millions of dollars? I bet you dollars to donuts that you don't have it right. You listening to this, most people have no clue how to frame what it is that they do. And you expect some stranger that doesn't even know your name to read your mind of how you're going to help their business? Oh, so you think that stranger's going to do all that hard work for you and then figure it out and then hire you for it? Yeah, that's insane. That is wacky talk to me, that you think some rando off the street is going to know how you're going to make their life better. Like that is, to me, fundamentally just full on narcissism, because of course everybody knows what. Yeah, right. Okay. So if you have an aversion to self-promotion, you probably are narcissistic, but you think you don't like self-promotion because you think you're not. But instead you have a belief that everybody could read your mind and will know you before you've ever had the chance to introduce yourself. So that's another case where the thinking is fundamentally out of alignment with reality, and their beliefs are demonstrably, provably wrong. And even then, they're still going to say, "Yeah, I don't want you to help me run Facebook ads." Okay, so you're not going to be my client.